The very sort of seed of the idea for Black Snow came about 5 years ago. I was in a small country town in central Queensland and I noticed the town had a time capsule, and I was struck with the idea of what if a clue for a cold case murder mystery emerged from that time capsule when it was opened. It was really that hook about a clue emerging out of a time capsule that started me thinking about a series that took place in two time frames and kind of a unique way to open a cold case mystery, and it grew from there.
When the pitch came, we were looking for a detective genre TV show, but we were looking for something that had a point of difference, and it's what it had. In one way, it's a traditional detective show, but it tells another story underneath.
There are people here I trusted, but now I know they feed on suffering. One day, when I'm safe from their clutches, I'll expose them in their cruelty. That's if they don't kill me first.
Because of the Australian South Sea Islander storytelling and the detective genre storytelling, it's a battle between the specifics of the culture and what is the rules of the genre. So it took a real artist to actually bring those two worlds together without allowing either of those stories to fall.
As soon as the idea of blackbirding and the Australian colonial crimes of the past grew up out of the cane, and Goalpost and myself immediately said, well, this is a meaningful story, but it's not a story that we can tell alone. And Kayleen Butler, who's a producer and director and creative force, joined the project.
But Lucas welcomed me with open arms to come in as a script consultant, to be able to give input and represent our people, our Australian South Sea Islander people, and our culture and our heritage and history.
And knowing that there's some really, really strong matriarchs who have helped pull this story together and help inform such important pieces of the puzzle makes it so much more special. And I've learnt so much more of my own history just being a part of it.
Reading what Lucas and then in turn with Kayleen had created, the history, the richness of the story, the landscape, the kind of conflicting energies of what we think we know about our past were so detailed and so engaging and so true.
I think it was very important for us to go to central North Queensland to make this show. It's a particular environment. This huge cane mill at the centre of the town, and the town sort of orbits around this great monolith that's right in the middle of it. And then as far as the eye can see, there is nothing but cane field.
We talked about Sunshine Noir, but it struck me as a really beautiful idea that you can lean into the sun and the shadows and the contrast and heat to actually use that as a way of creating impact visually.
It's interesting to shoot in those environments because I think it brings the story to the fore. You get a sense that the cane and these vast tracts of land where you can travel for several kilometres and not see another soul, these are the places where mysteries can occur.
That initial image of Isabel riding her bicycle past the burning cane towards that isolated telephone box grabbed me from the get-go. And then when I read on, it was this idea of hidden histories and the traces of history in spaces.
This is the essence of the story, of why we shot it here. It's been a great experience too to be able to tell our story in Queensland. A lot of the cast that are on this production are also family. If they're not related to me, they relate to Auntie Mary.
How I became a part of Black Snow series was through a open casting call by Barrett Casting on Facebook. Like most mob things, you know, when mob is involved, it just kind of spreads like wildfire.
This is my first acting experience, so I'm very grateful that the first show I'm on, I have such a connection to.
It's actually quite funny that I'm related in real life to most of the cast. Uncle Jimmy and Auntie Saini, they're like my real life auntie and uncle, so it really, really helped.
I guess for myself being a seasoned actor, coming into a Baker family who hasn't done this before. Saini, Lisa, Jemison, Talia, Eden, Molly, to embrace and let this family breathe from the bottom of their hearts and their guts and their cultural experiences and their life experiences. I mean, these are matriarchs within their own right.
Working with the South Sea Islander cast has just been one of the absolute joys. Getting insights from Talia into my character and the way she sees the world is the most beneficial thing to my performance I could speak to. She has an incredible insight and an incredible strength of purpose. And she asks questions about her character and about my character that sit you back in your chair and get you to view the whole thing through an entirely new prism.
Playing a role that is actually connected to my lineage from Tanner is just mind-blowing. To know that we have the opportunity to shed such a massive international light on such an important part of Australia's history with the likes of someone like Travis Fimmel, who already has a beautiful fan base, for that to kind of open this massive door for us to share these stories that have for decades been passed down. Now is the time for us to kind of release them into the world.
Everybody loved each other and was so committed. Travis Fimmel was just so extraordinary in how protective he felt of all our new actors. We were extremely fortunate that he was really excited about the project. He loved the writing, he loved the world. He's such an inventive, brave and creative actor.
Cormac is very charismatic, he's fun, but he can be very intense. He's got a lot of anger issues and a lot of childhood issues, and hopefully he's a very deep character. He's a bit of a chameleon. He gets very involved in the missing person's personality, and he tries to really understand them and work out how they tick.
Travis Fimmel playing the role of Cormac was just a dream come true for me. From the very first script I wrote, the very first draft, I actually had Travis in mind as Cormac. I think he's an incredibly powerful actor who has a real strength and what we might say an old school masculinity, but a real sensitivity. And the other thing I think that Travis brought to Cormac is a playfulness, which in a really dark story like this at times, that playfulness, it draws you in and you want to go on this journey.
I think Cormac is going to be one of the most memorable detectives I've certainly seen for a while.
For more behind the scenes from the Stan original series Black Snow, click below and subscribe.